Mhm.
Hello, and welcome to Victory Chat with Jackie. Your victory starts here on Victory Chat. We talk about everything from faith and finances, books, and business. Y'all, for season 2, we're doing a special series. It's called Behind the Author's Pen, where we invite authors of different genres on my show. I want to say our show. Um, on the show where we get up close and personal. We get all up in their business, y'all, and we learn a little bit about the book. And today we have author Difernt. She is also a YouTuber. She wrote the book What If, a Controversial Paradigm Shift. Welcome to Victory Chat with Jackie Mckeever. Difernt, how are you
Hey,
doing?
G. Very
All right.
well. Thank you so much for having me. I truly appreciate it. Hey to everybody out there watching and listening. Yes, my name is Difernt, spelled Diferent. And thank you guys again so much for having me. Just a little bit about myself. I'm an author, motivational speaker, and CEO of my own business, Third Eye Entertainment LLC. And I'm just so excited to be here today with you, Miss Jackie, to just discuss my new book, What If, a Controversial Paradigm Shift, and just to talk to you all about, the importance of mental health and, getting yourself in check. And this is how what getting my mental health in check led to me writing the book and starting my own business. So I'm so
Okay,
happy
wait
to
a
be
minute.
here
Wait a
for
minute.
now.
Wait a minute. I feel
I
like I
know.
should just give you y'all. I told y'all she's a fellow YouTuber. Okay, so this is not only an author
Mhm,
interview. This is a collaboration. Okay,
mhm.
so we gonna this chat gonna be good, y'all. So if you have not subscribed, honey, to our channels, you should. What's wrong with you? What is wrong
No,
with you? You
no,
should
no problema.
subscribe. Did I say subscribe? Let me say it again. Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Okay. Let's
Right?
let's get these questions going. The
Hmm.
first thing is, why did you decide of all the books to write this book?
Okay, well, I'm to give you the short version of it.
I like
Last
that.
year, being stuck in the house during the pandemic, dealing with my depression, um, and needing something to do. I'm an avid traveler, so before the pandemic, I was traveling all over the world. I've been to just about 50 countries, and when that happened, and I couldn't
Wow.
go anywhere, that still didn't mean anything. I still was dealing with depression, so.
Hmm.
Um, just being stuck in the house and can't go anywhere. And I had lost weight before. I had lost 100 pounds and put it right back on and then some. And so dealing with that. And then the day May 25th, 2020 happens, the day George Floyd dies. Now I'm from Houston, Texas. I turn 31 tomorrow. But being I'm
Oh,
from Fifth Ward, he's from Third Ward, and so we're right
hmm,
next to each other in the neighborhoods. And so when his death occurred, Jackie, is it okay if I call you Jackie?
yeah.
Okay, sorry about when his death occurred, I wanted to get involved and have my voice being heard. However, I felt I want my voice to be heard than just in that longer and in that moment of time. I wanted it to be heard long after I'm gone. And so being spiritually in tune and talking with God and asking him, what is it that I can do to have my voice being heard and, my contribution to society, as well as something that's going to put me on the map because, I have all these talents and gifts. I just can't let them go to waste. I got to,
Hmm.
it's my time too. I want to get in that bag too. And
That
so
part.
a long time ago, I prayed to God and I said, let me be the one, even if I have to, take all those hits to be the one in my family to break the generational curse and create generational wealth. And this is just coming ahead. And so, but to go much deeper than that, Jackie, I would have to tell you, coming up from my childhood, I had a really good upbringing up until the time I was 11. And around that time, I ended up homeless with my family.
Mm,
We stayed homeless for around 3 years, living to pillow to post, sleeping in cars, shelters, bus stops, relatives, strangers' house. At one point, I even, my family, we slept in the crack house,
mm,
one time. And by the time I was 14, a relative secretly placed me in foster care. And so nobody in my family knew where I was for the first
mm.
6 months. And while being in CPS, another foster kid told me that if I stayed until I aged out till I was 18, then the state of Texas would pay for my 4 years to college full ride. And so right there, a light bulb went on in my head, and I'm thinking, shoot, let me use my street smarts to elevate my book smarts, because that's the only way I saw myself getting out of my situation, coming up in that chaotic environment. And so I went to Sam Houston State University. I was blessed with the opportunity to travel abroad. That's where my study bug hat that was planted. I got to go to Kim Young University in South Korea, and got to travel to 8 other different countries. I even started my own student organization titled Pay It Forward, an organization that was tailored to educating, volunteering, and mentoring the youth in foster care. And so that's where my motivational speaking bug was planted. I would go to different high schools and speaking with them about the importance of education and sharing my testimony with them. I graduated in 2013 with my bachelor's in international business. I also have 2 minors in economics and communication. A few years later, I got my master's degree in entrepreneurship. I'm also a Texas real estate agent. I'm now a CEO of my own business and an author. And so God is good. With that being said,
Yes.
all those accomplishments and notches under my belt doesn't mean a thing if I wasn't happy on the inside, which I wasn't.
Mm.
So, like I said, coming up in that environment where chaos was normal to me, when I got placed in foster care, I was actually placed in really good homes, nice school districts. The foster parents I had were well educated, and I just seen them, how different they were set from me and where I came from, and I just felt, it was too good to be true. And so I got in that habit of, being the captain of my own ship and deciding when it was time to sink it. And I would sabotage every relationship I had.
Mm.
People coming my way, I would push them away. I would be very off-putting. Um, Coming up, it was in being in those streets, it was very, very tough for me as a young girl on the street, being approached by grown men. And so I had to toughen up and ugly myself, if you will, make myself unattractive, so that they wouldn't attract, the wrong attention to me. And that just followed me all throughout my adulthood, to the point where it was
Mm.
messing me up career wise. And so back in, I think, 2015, 2016, I had an opportunity to where I could have been, a millionaire, so to speak. I could have been successful, but I had what happened was I had a meeting with a well-connected person, and I let the demons in the back of my head take over me, and
Mm.
telling me, "Oh, I'm not good enough. I'm too country, too ghetto. Or they're just taking pity on you because you were a foster kid." And so I let
Mm-hmm.
those voices in the back of my head, stop me from fulfilling my destiny. And I purposely showed up late to that meeting, and it left a sour taste in that person's mouth. And for years, I had sat on that regret, thinking about what I did. And it was like that for the most part, all the mistakes I made. I just was stuck in a rut thinking about the past, until one day I faced the ugly truth about myself, that I needed to go and fix my issues. Whatever I went through as a child, it was not my fault. It was out of my control. But as an adult, it's on me to go fix it. And so that's just what I did. I said, bump that. I know a lot of Black people say they don't do therapy because we don't like telling our
Therapy
business.
is wonderful. Therapy
It
is
is, it is,
wonderful.
it is,
Um,
it is. And so
and
I
the
did
thing
that.
about therapy,
Mhm,
Black people say that, but truth be told, if you are a Christian or you
mhm,
drink at bars,
mhm,
they people would actually do a form of therapy. The difference is you're not
mhm,
talking to a licensed mental health professional,
mhm,
or you may not be. Let me say, I'm not going to say you're not. You may or may not be,
mhm,
because they may not be able to understand that aspect because they have not been, properly trained to pick up those things if they
mhm.
didn't take the time. But
Yes, ma'am.
therapy is great. I'm an advocate for therapy. I call myself a advocate for mental health, because I've conquered and freed myself of three different types
Yeah.
of depression,
Mhm,
of depression. And just to let y'all know, when I say I free myself of depression, it doesn't mean that I'm not dealing with aftershocks.
mhm,
It doesn't mean that I don't have down days, but every day that I'm able to live in my uh on purpose, purposefully,
mhm.
is another trophy for me,
Amen.
is another way I've won.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
yeah, y'all, therapy is a wonderful thing.
It is.
Um,
And if anybody out there that's feeling like, first off, if you're going through any type of mental anguish, be it, depression, feeling suicidal, having anxieties, or going through any type of bullying, please know that it is okay to not be okay, but just don't sit there and not be okay. Go get help. Go talk to somebody, be it a family member, a friend, a therapist, or even if you have to mean go picking up a hobby, go do that. Go cut those people off who mean you know well. Go mend those broken bridges that you know that you should mend. And that's the steps that you need to take to free yourself from those mental bondage. Once I did that and got serious with it, because I wasn't serious about it at first, but once I got consistent with being in therapy, like I have been now for the past 2 years, that is when I noticed the change started to take place. For me, it was my therapist encouraging me to get back into one of my hobbies, which was writing. And so while doing that, I love writing little meditations and affirmation words in my journal. And so again, being stuck in the house, having nothing to do, and then boom, the day George Floyd died, these questions started popping up in my head. So I have my little journal, and here I am starting to write, little questions. What if this? What if that? And I started writing in June 2020. And by December 2020, I finished the writing portion, but I still need to look for an illustrator. And so I reached out to my lawyer, and she read it and she loved it. And she asked the one question that rocked my world: "What's the name of your business?" I'm like, "Huh? What? Huh?" I kept giving her the title of my book. And so that's one thing about life, when you think you know it all and it comes through and knocks you off your high horse and reminds you don't know nothing. And so right there, I had to hit the ground running. And by March 2021, my business, Third Eye Entertainment LLC, was formed. And Third Eye Entertainment is a business that strives to bring social awareness to society through our products and services, in which we educate, inspire, and entertain all at once. We talk about issues that are often, swept under the rug and considered taboo, such as injustice, systemic racism. We also talk about domestic violence, um, mental health awareness, as well as suicide prevention and other taboo issues. I also, like I said, have a YouTube channel with my travel vlog. So with all the entertainment side, I share my travel excursions. I offer motivational speaking services as well. And with that being said, the first product that Third Eye Entertainment has to offer to the public is my new book, dun, 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 What If? A Controversial Paradigm Shift. Now, before I go any further, I must state that What If of Controversial Paradigm Shift does come with a disclaimer. It is intended for mature audience only, so it does have sensitive content. It was written to inform and encourage thought provoking conversations about injustice and systemic racism in America through graphic but provocative illustrations. What If provides a different perspective by detailing controversial deaths and events as categorized in four main paradigm shifts, which are historical, political, precedent, and hypothetical. And I'll give you the excerpt from it later on. But the reason why I wrote this book, like I said, when the day that George Floyd died, I seen a lot of the internet trolls, if you will, came out to play, and I was just, flabbergasted about how the world can watch on live stream, live stream TV, if you will, for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. A person can have somebody their knee on somebody's neck and cause their airways to be blocked, and then all but still the excuse and the reason for them dying, oh, they were drugged up on fentanyl, oh, it was their fault, they should have complied. And so it was things like that, when people refuse to see the injustice that's right there in your face. This is what made me want to write the book in the way that I did. Basically, what if it's just a race role reversal, just asking the question, what if the shoe was on the other foot? What if this happened to you and your people? What if this was still happening to you and your people? And if the answer for that is, if it's not okay with you and it's uncomfortable, then why is it justified? Why is it excusable when it happened to Black folks? And so, and then when you walk through the book, you'll see the provocative illustrations of, for instance, white people on slave ships and shackles and chains being beaten by Black slave masters. That's going to make a lot of white people mad. But the point is to get them talking about that, what makes them mad about it. And so it's my theory that when we have these conversations, then over time, systemic change can come. You know, I'm well aware that change doesn't happen overnight, Jackie. I'm well aware that it doesn't happen with just one person. But what if? What if this is the generation that plants the seed for the next or the next? And so for me, nothing beats a failure but a try. And so here is my try to the world. And for those out there who are saying, oh, this book, is meant to be as a tool to, inspire the Black community to uprising as white folks. No, it's not. It's simply a thought-provoking, question that I asked. That's a very true and necessary question that we need to have. What if the shoe was on the other foot? And so a lot of the times, you hear these, from what I'm hearing now. I don't want to say white people in general, but those racist people, because not all white people are racist, but the racists out there, a lot of times they say, well, how can racism still be alive when I see all Black people are starting their own businesses, all of them are, they're getting their own homes. Well, okay, this is how you can tell if racism is still alive. If you see an illustration to where you can see a Black man, or first, if you see a white man being lynched by a Black mob, as you will in this book, then you're offended by it. But then you turn around and you see a Black person being lynched by a white mob, and you see it as justified. Oh, it's the past. Oh, get over it. Oh, you guys are you're the ones that's keeping this alive. Then that's, in my opinion, how you can tell that racism is still alive and needs to be eradicated. And so it's my hope and prayer that with this book, it encourages conversations about systemic racism, but it's not just about, pissing off white people or pushing it in their faces how they treated us. If for those who are mature enough to make it to hypothetical paradigm, they will see that the book is more than just making people mad. I'm talking about compassion, unity, coming together as one. And so it is my hope and prayer for those out there who are listening to go and buy this book and read it and share and spread the knowledge, because it's what's need to be done. I think this is the right time to do so. If not now, then when? And so that's pretty much, my message, as well as I want to say this for those who say um, that this book, is set to, as an uprising. It's not. For me, I've learned from number 45, you go where you celebrate it and not where you tolerate it. And so with this book, I'm not worried about those who don't like it and what they have to say about it. It's always going to be somebody out there that's going to condone what you're saying and what you're doing. So you go where you celebrate it and not where you tolerate it. And so that's what I learned from number 45, the previous one. Um, and so, yeah, if you have any other questions for me, I don't
How
want to keep
long
talking. We collaborate.
how long did it take for you to write the book?
Um, so I started it in June. It's very short. The way that I set the book up is to keep it short and simple, keep the audience's attention. If the questions don't get you, the illustrations definitely will. Like I said, this is a graphic illustration. So I asked that question, I don't know if you can see it all, but that's the slave ship with the white slaves and then the black slave masters. And so the way that I set the book up is, if the questions don't get you, the illustrations will. I kept the questions short and sweet and to the point, and so it should keep your attention all throughout the book. And what else? Like I said, it does come with a disclaimer. I also have included references for each one of the paradigms, just in case, you have the trolls out there that's saying, well, this didn't happen that way or that didn't happen that way. I'm not here to argue about what happened accurately. I'm just here to ask the question, what if, in the form of a paradigm shift.
So would
And
you
so,
say it took you less than a year, a few months, a
oh yes,
few
ma'am, less than a
weeks?
year. So only like 3 months. I started in June,
Okay.
the written part of it, June 2020 to December 2020. I was finished. I was already filing for copyrights in
Oh,
December 2020.
awesome.
Yes, ma'am. So it didn't take me
Um,
long.
will there be any other books in the genre for you?
Yes, ma'am. So this was the first one. I've noticed usually the first book a person wants to write is about themselves. But truth is, everybody has a story to tell, so nobody really cares about what you got going on. If you really want to catch somebody's attention, the first book that you should write about is a universal issue, something that everybody else can relate to or cares about. And then once you have their attention or you build that platform, then you can share your story. So my next book will be a memoir of my life and what I've been through as a child and through as an adult. My third book will be a self-help book for the Black community in regards to mental health and financial literacy. And so they are in the works. I also, like I said, do motivational speaking. Next year, I'm gearing up to do a couple of book signing events as well as a book tour. So yeah, I got a lot going on with me,
That's
and
cool.
this is just the beginning. Yes, ma'am.
What other books or authors inspire you?
I definitely love reading financial literacy books from Dave Ramsey. One of my favorite books to read is The Seven Highly Effective Habits. Excuse me, I get tongue twisted, but The Seven Highly Effective Habits from Successful People by Stephen Covey. I love reading meditation and like spiritual awakening books.
That's good. So, what advice would you give others writing a book for the first time?
To keep writing and then don't stop. Do your research. Um, Always make sure that you take what you're doing serious and be passionate about it. Um, and let nothing stop you. You are going to have hard days. You're going to have setbacks, but the main gist of it is just to keep writing and don't stop.
That's good. Um, can you give our listeners a little sample without giving too much of the book away, because we want them to purchase your book,
Yeah.
and where they can buy it?
So one of the paradigms is towards the year 1619, I believe. This is one of the first paradigms that I actually just reviewed to you. It asked the question, so what if in 1619 Africans started dealing in illegal slave trading, whereas they kidnapped millions of English men, women, and children and brought them on slave ships to America? And so then you will see the provocative illustrations asking or showing you the question that I just asked. And so then you would go to the next one and then so on, so on.
Where can they find your book at?
So my book, What If a Controversial Paradigm Shift, it will be available. It's available right now on my website, differenceworld.net, spelled DIFERNTSWORLD.net.
Okay, thank you so much for agreeing to come. Let us get behind the author's pen and
Yes,
sharing this story.
yes,
We
ma'am.
look
Thank you so much
forward
for having me.
to reading more of your books. Y'all, make sure y'all subscribe if you have not subscribed. What's wrong with
Mhm.
you?
Yeah, girl.
Anyway, so thank you for joining us for Victory Chat with Jackie. Remember, your victory starts here. Thank you, dear
Thank
friends.
you for having me. Difference World, come and learn. Also, I want to say, I always try to make sure I do this for anybody out there that's feeling suicidal. Just know it's not the way. Please call the crisis hotline at 1-800-273-8255 or go to mentalhealthishelp.us.
Thank you
And follow
again.
us at Difference World, come and learn. Thank you so
Bye.
much. Bye.